When she's not busy taking on online trolls, Reid has been presenting a programme exploring the controversial stories behind the art in some of our museums called Civilization On Your Doorstep.
Now, this is a show that we can enjoy on BBC Two tomorrow night at 9 o'clock.
That's right.
And tell us, I mean, there's a beautiful sort of idea of some of the history on our doorstep there.
Part of the idea was to say, look, we've done this big series of civilizations, but an awful lot of the art we've seen in that have been, it's been thousands of miles away. And this was a chance to say, look, there's amazing stuff right next door. And so we go to Leeds and Manchester and Belfast and Edinburgh. There's such a lot of exciting stuff here that we tend just to forget all about.
Give us an example.
Well, I think one of the most amazing mummies, Egyptian mummies, I've ever seen is in the Ulster Museum in Belfast. It's extraordinary. We get up right up close, we see what it was wrapped in and her face, and it's moving. It's terribly moving. It's a dead young lady thousands of miles away.
Or moving
from her.
emotionally.
Moving emotionally.
I thought moving.
We're just celebrating some of the things we can see here, but also at the same time we are asking hard questions about how did it get here. If you can see the civilizations of the world here, which you can. How come? Was it fair means or foul?
Yeah, is there some nefarious stories behind how some of the art pieces have arrived?
There are, and I think you can celebrate what you can see, but also you've got to face up to why they're here and what we're going to do about it and how we kind of cite ourselves, in the world where we did have an empire that brought all this in. We are in some ways privileged to be able to see this. This amazing material, but we've got to also look at our history a bit carefully.
The Civilization series that was the global series had been sold to PBS in America, and you were one of the contributors to that series, and it would appear, by your own admission, that you felt like they had edited you out of this series.
How could they,
How could they? The truth is that American documentaries are done often very differently. So both Simon, David and myself, all the presenters, were kind of partly removed, and the voiceover is done by a famous actor, not by us.
And that's what PBS said, that it was because it was a different style. But it was observed by many of your fans, and you
and yourself,
as well, that you were significantly more edited than the men.
I felt that I was significantly more edited than the men, and I think you have to take the rough with the smooth here a bit.
Why do you think it was?
Well, I wouldn't like to speculate.
You have speculated already, Mary.
I know that some people, I couldn't say this was me, do wonder whether American telly is quite, ready for a grey-haired, old lady telling them about art, looking a bit hunched and as if she spent her life in a library rather than looking as beautiful as you guys.
But the credibility and what you bring to the show is not about. It's just, that's what makes it sort of compelling to watch.
I think that's
true. It should
be. But I think that British telly has come on hugely in the last 10 years. I mean, it's easy to kind of knock America for just wanting very pretty young ladies size naught doing documentaries. But when I started doing documentaries, A.A. Gill said, what's that woman coming into our sitting rooms for? She might at least make herself look a bit smarter if she's going to invade our domestic space. And
how rude.
Well, indeed, and Camilla Long in the Sunday Times said much the same about this civilization. So before we kind of are too snooty about America, I think we've got to remember that
what we can. And the great thing about you is you always take these things on, don't you? I mean, you have had a lot of stick over your appearance, if I can put it that way, and you don't shy away from it. I think you've even not just contacted the people, but then invited them out to lunch to talk about it. I mean, that's taken them on.
And quite often people apologise. Quite often what people say on Twitter, they do it when they're slightly the worse for wear, rather late at night, feeling a bit, shall we say, disinhibited. And they say stuff they don't really mean. And they certainly don't, when they see you face to face, they don't avow that. So I think it's, I think horrible things go on Twitter, but most of the people, well, we all do horrible things on Twitter sometimes.
Have you done horrible things on Twitter? I don't think I've ever done anything horrible on Twitter.
I don't think there's anybody in the world who's been on Twitter for at least 6 months who has not tweeted something they later regret.
Really? What have you tweeted that?
Oh, goodness.
What have you tweeted something you regret, Mary?
You regret all kinds of things. You know, was it really advisable to get into that battle about whatever? You think no, probably it wasn't.
Has it made you want to change the way you look? Because a lot of people look at things said about Twitter and feel paranoid about it. You shouldn't have to, by the way. I want to make that very clear. You look great and you do a brilliant job at what you do. But has it ever made you doubt yourself?
I think that I'm quite lucky that I'm 63, because, if this had happened to me when I was, 20, 30 years younger, I think it might have. But, one of the few advantages of getting older is getting a bit of a thicker skin, literally and metaphorically.
Well, look, we wouldn't want you to change one little bit.